Okay, let's give Trier a go. I wouldn't recommend using a ply yarn for this because all these little twists can be mistaken for actual loops. But this is what I have in this thickness, so... Okay, anyway, so we start with a pretzel knot. Like that. If you're right-handed, that is. So now I have one loop. For this, I'm gonna need 4 loops. So I have to go under everything. This is like vod and salt doll, so you're gonna need to keep track of your loops. New, old. Do not lose or mess up your loop order. Okay, so now I have 4 on my thumb. This isn't exactly probably the best way to start, but this is what I'm doing. Old, second, third, fourth. Old one goes back, out of the way. You go under everything on the back side, if you can see there. Go over that thread and pull through. Again, do not lose your loop order. That is detrimental. So now I have 4 again, so the old one goes off, oldest goes off, then under everything and over that end one. That is, my tail's trying to get stuck here. Okay, and then take the old one off, under everything, over the leader yarn. Just gonna ignore that. Okay. And then under everything, over the leader yarn. I think I'll do one more, and that means I've done 4 stitches, 1 for each loop, basically. Because I don't really necessarily like the way this start's going to look, I'm going to pick out those 4 loops there in the end. But first I have to keep going because I need a chain. So again, under all 3 of those and over the leader yarn. And you keep doing this until you have a pretty decent sized chain. This is going to be a little bit twisty, a bit like York. Okay, under everything, over the leader. This is some old yarn. So this is your chain. And I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to look like compared to the other test I did with the thinner yarn. Because in my head, I'm thinking this is going to be 4 loops, so it's going to be super... And an F4 connection, by the way. So it's going to be super, super dense. But the little sample that I did is in a thinner yarn. This thickness. With a tighter ply, by the way, which made it easier. But it ended up looking a little on the holy side. Actually, it doesn't look too holy on here. But when you look at it where it's now on beginning row 3... See there. Then it starts to look more like the hat. But you'll notice this has a tight little ring in the beginning, and then it gets bigger. And it's not because I'm making a round start. This is actually just 1 in each one. But because of that F3, or the F4 connection, it's kind of pulling everything together. But eventually it will even out. But I did lose quite a bit of length in this because of that F4 connection. So, to finish this one off a little bit, 1, 2, under 3 of them, over the leader yarn. Take off the old one, under 3, or just under everything if it's easier, and then over the leader yarn. There is another way to do this if this is tricky. Let me just get rid of some of my length here on my needle. Okay, so the other way you could do it is taking it off your thumb. You can kind of see what it looks like if I stretch it out a little bit. I don't like my beginning there. It looks kind of wonky, so you could either cut it away and be happy as a camper, or you could pick out, okay, 1, whichever one tightens, 2, 3, and then 4 because I started with 4 loops. So I want to kind of pick out 4 loops. And then, so I don't get confused and think this is my working end, I'm going to just put a little knot there. Then obviously I can't splice to it. But now my start looks a little prettier. It kind of looks like a leech, actually. Anyhow, so another way to do this, now your yarn is going under that last loop, so this is actually the right way. You would lift this up. Remember, you can't lose your loop order. 1, 2, 3, this way, and then up, and then over. So you're actually going over. So that's kind of the same thing you were doing, but without your thumb. But I do like to catch it on my thumb, at least the last one at first, so that my loops are the same size. So again, that yarn up, 1, 2, 3, flip the yarn or the needle up, and then take that yarn forward so that you're going over. So that's just 2 ways of doing the exact same stitch. This is actually the same. Vod and Salt Doll and Trier are all done the same way at this point. There's your 3 going up, pull through. But when you go to connect it, that's where the tricky stuff is going to be. 1, 2, 3, and twist and go up. So when I went to connect this, I couldn't just start with an F4. F4 means, this is really small by the way, that you're going to, F1 means that you're going to connect 1 new one from the front. F2 means you're taking 1 new one and 1 old one from the front. F4 would be taking 1 new one and 3 old ones from the front. But I don't have any old ones right now, so I have to kind of build that up a little bit. So I'm going to go, just put this all right back on my thumb. Be very wary that you keep the loop order correct. Otherwise, you're going to have a hot mess. Okay. So F1, let's just say the top of that one, under everything, all 3 of those, but over the leader yarn. Okay, that was F1. Then take off the old one. F2 would be 1 new one. This is the top row I'm working on from the front, and 1 old one. That would be the loop I just went in there. And then you go under everything, over the leader yarn, pull through. Pull downwards, by the way. If you pull upwards, you're just going to yank the stuff off your thumb. Okay, take off the old one. Now, I have 2 old loops. I have this one there and this one. But so, okay, take F1, that's 1 new one. F2, that's 1 new one, 1 old one. F3, 1 new one, 2 old ones. And then go under everything, over the leader yarn, pull through in a downwards motion. Take off, and keep your tail out of the way here. Take off an old one, okay? Now I have 1 old one, 2 old ones, 3 old ones. Oops, maybe I can do that again. 1 old one, 2 old ones, 3 old ones. This is where it's going to get a little tricky now. As you can see that this one here can look like it's 2 loops, but it's actually just 1. It's the ply that's kind of messing with your head here. So you might want to try with a loopy. Anyway, so F1, F2, F3, and then there's my last one there, F4. So F1, 2, 3, 4. And you got to keep these loops in order. If you start switching them around, you're going to have again, a hot mess. This is just another way to make a hot mess out of this. Okay, so you have F1, F2, F3, F4, and now I can do every other one the same, because now I have enough loops to do F4 all the way through. Let's see, I've got to stretch out my yarn again. Not stretch it out, but get more length. Okay, so old loop off, F1, F2, F3, and F4. Under 3, behind 3 loops there, and over the leader yarn. And I was curious to see if this was going to look like the Trier one, because this is my interpretation of how to do it. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I think I am, but you never know. because I never actually made a project in this hat. I don't have the patience for this many loops. But if I take this off my thumb now, it's going to be a bit scary. You can see it's kind of doing this little jump here. But I wanted to see if this one versus the old one, this is my tail, this is my leader yarn, if it was looking thicker, and it's really too soon to tell right now. I'd have to do about 3 rows to see. But this one, I'm just starting my 3rd row now, and it seems that this little bump here, that's almost like Oslo right there, these little diamonds, it almost looks like you can't see that in the hat, but if you look really close, I think you actually can. But because I don't see it so often, it doesn't seem so much like Trier in these 2 rows to me, but when I start seeing more rows together, it does kind of. So, okay, then let's get rid of the white one here, and then continue with this one. I can cut this tail much, much shorter now. It's because I pulled out the 4 stitches that it's so long, but I might want to cinch the bottom together and call it a pouch. I haven't decided. Okay, so this one goes up. This is loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. Or I can put them on my thumb. This is loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. The other ones just stay behind. Then you have F1, F2, F3, and F4. They should lay nicely together. Then you go under everything, over the leader yarn, pull through, take off the old one. F1, F2, F3, F4. Under all 3, over the leader yarn, pull through. Again, you can also take it off your thumb if you think this is easier for you. I don't want to tighten it too much right now, stretching it out, because these loops become a little bit more harder to identify. There you go. You can also see here too, by the way, F1, this is F2, this is F3, this is F4. But I can do it this way, keeping the yarn up. Do my F1, F2, keeping this yarn out of the way, F3 and F4. Put that yarn up again, go behind 1, 2, 3, go up, bring this yarn around and pull through. I think that's a bit tricky to do it that way. So I think I'm going to keep these 3 loops on my thumb because it's easier for me to pull out F4, F1, F2, F3, F4 if I do, and then just go under everything. Over leader yarn, that's the one I keep forgetting to do. Pull through. So I think I'm just going to make a pouch out of this. That'll probably never get done, but I can dream. But it is kind of nice to see that it is getting that shape. There, I'm going to just take that out. But you can see there. When you start stretching the loops into place, I wouldn't recommend doing it there because it's really hard to pull out the F3 and F4 when you do. But when you push the loops into place, you can see that maybe this would have been more effective with a slightly thicker yarn. But it's too early to tell if that would be thicker. Anyhow, but you can see right here where it isn't stretched out, you get the bumps. Good luck. I hope I did that right.